Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk to you guys about the red Bardock's crew stuff and my thoughts on it. If you guys have been with the channel for a while now, you guys would know I'm a very big fan of Bardock's crew. Started off with blue, then the draft box stuff brought us yellow, and now they're bringing it around to red. I don't really know why they keep dipping into all these different colors. There are actually some ways you can play like a dual or tricolor red Bardock's crew, which is kind of neat. We'll see if that ends up being something, but today we'll talk about the red stuff and some of those neat interactions where you can kind of mesh the older Bardock's crew stuff in as well. But anyways, guys, that being said, if you're new here, definitely subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss a video. If you guys want to help support the channel, there are many ways down in the description to do so. Particularly today, if you want to buy or pre-order any of the cards you see in today's video, use my link down in the description below to TCG Player. It does give the channel a kickback. It is very greatly appreciated. That being said, let's get started. Alright, so going right into the leader, we have Bardock. He's a regular Bardock, not a BR, Sand Bardock's crew. Permanent, you can't include extra cards with energy costs of 2 or more in your deck. Very interesting permanent. So you can't play Omen of Awakening, which means you'll technically have like a slightly tougher time answering cards like Topo, but you can still play Broly Crown Retribution in the deck. That card's actually going to have insane synergy with the deck. We'll see that in a second. Permanent, all of your red Bardock's crew cards in your battle area with original energy costs of 1 had their energy costs increased by 2. I'm pretty sure that's just solely for the fact that you don't lose out to cards like Dormant, Potential, and Leash, because minor spoilers, this is a one-drop spam strategy. So Dormant, just taking out 2 of your guys for free essentially, would be really bad for the deck. So it is kind of like one-drop spam, but they come out for 1 and they essentially sit there as 3 drops, which is kind of good. Auto, when this card attacks, shoots a 1 red sand card with an original energy cost of 1 in your hand and play it. So there are a bunch of red sand cards that will play in the deck, and I did mention Broly Crown Retribution. So if you are playing against red or even blue, you want to take a quick look at their hand. If they're leaving a lot of energy up, attack, play Broly Crown. That seems to be like a very good play. Awaken when life 4 or less, or you have 3 or more mono red sand cards in play. You may draw 1 card, add cards from light to hand until you have 4 left, and then flip this card over. So the awakening is pretty easy because your leader puts a guy into play for free every time you attack, right? And the other ways to play it, you can obviously pay 1 for some of the 1 drops. There are other effects that put things into play as well. We'll see that in a bit. SS Bardock, the Legend Awaken, double strike permanent, same thing. All your Bardock's crews have their energy costs increased to 3. Auto, when this card attacks, draw 1, then choose up to 1 red sand card with the original energy cost of 1 in your hand and play it. So a lot of one-drop spam here. One of the first things we thought of when we just saw the leader and not really any of the battle cards, you could play like Intensifying Power Trunks and then evolve into Chain Attack Trunks and go into Zeno. That was kind of funny because it was a 2 energy way to basically go into Chain Attack Zeno, but the awkward thing is there, you've already drawn with your leader, right? So you don't really get the maximum benefit of like chain Zenoing your opponent. So you're probably not ever going to really do that. It was kind of a funny combo we thought of when the leader got initially spoiled. But we'll check out the actual battle cards meant for the deck, and I think we'll see a lot better stuff there. So we've got 2 unisons first off, Mass Sand Avenger from Another Dimension and Black Mass Sand Brawler from Another Dimension. I think both these are pretty playable in the deck. I think Mass Sand is a little bit better, but let's give them a quick read. So permanent, during your turn, this card gets plus 1000 power for each red sand in your battle area, so this can easily hit almost like 20k by like turn 3. Then we have activate main plus 1, place up to 1 of your red sand cards with an energy cost of 1 in your deck to your drop, shuffle your deck, then draw 1. So this is actually a very budget version of the Piccolo unison. Like, even if you don't need that, you know, dumping a sand from your deck to the drop, you still get the plus 1 draw 1, which makes this very much on par with Piccolo unison. Then we have activate main minus 2, draw 1 card, choose all of your red sand cards with energy cost of 3 or less. They get plus 5000 power for the turn. So there's some really nice pushing power there. I think this is actually going to be a really good unison for the deck, but I do think Black Mass Sand's also playable. Let's give it a quick read. We have a 1-drop 10k unison, auto once per turn. When your opponent adds a card from life to hand or places a card from life in the drop, so if they take a damage or self-awaken or get crit, add a marker to this card, and if you do, this card gets plus 5000 power for the turn. Plus 0, auto, when your opponent plays a battle card, they either give it minus 5 or you add 2 markers to this, and then minus 4, activate main, this card gets plus 15,000 power and double strike for the turn. So the unison himself, as opposed to giving your whole board finishing power, he has some finishing power built into him. And the fact that he's a 1-drop potential 15k attacker most turns, because let's be honest, most turns, especially early, your opponent's going to take a damage. This guy's going to become plus 5k and gain a marker, right? So with that in mind, I think you can play BMS if you want to have a more like unison that's aggressive in and of itself. But I think Mass Sand Avenger from Another Dimension is probably going to add more to the deck overall. So I'd probably go with Avenger from Another Dimension, just my opinion. All right, let's get into some of the Bardock's crew stuff. We've got Chantak, Fasha, Shigesh, Borgos, and Tora. Let's give them all quick reads. We have Fasha, permanent bond 3. As long as you have red sands and or Bardock's crews in play, this card gets plus 11,000 power. So keep in mind, doesn't care if it's a red Bardock's crew, so that also points to the fact you can play some other color Bardock's crew cards in the deck if it ends up working out. Auto, when this card's played, look at top 5 of your deck, add up to 1 Bardock's crew with energy cost of 5 or less, or up to 1 red unison with a specified cost of 2 among them to your hand, then shuffle your deck. Then we've got Chantak Shigesh, unique, permanent, bond 3 with red sand cards and or Bardock's crew. This card gets plus 10,000 power and double strike. So you got a free 15k double striker there, and it seems like he always keeps that 15k even during your opponent's turn, which is nice because sometimes a 15k battle card early on in the game can be tough for your opponent to remove. Even if they have to attack into it, their leader might be 10k, they might not have battle cards quite yet to attack into it, things like that. Chantak Borgos, permanent bond 3 red sands and or Bardock's crew. This card gets plus 11,000 power, and when he's played you draw 1. So free playing with your leader getting that draw is almost better than a typical leader that just attacks and draws, right? Because you're still getting that attack and draw essentially, but you're also putting a body onto the field, which has good value in and of itself. Then we've got Chantak Tora, blocker bond 3, same requirements as the rest. Auto, if your leader card's a Bardock's crew card, when this card's played from your hand, add up to 1 red Bardock's crew card with energy cost of 5 or less that is not a Tora from your drop to your hand, and you can't play copies of this card for the turn. So I think you'll probably play 3 or 4 copies of all of these cards. Tora could be 2 or 3 because you can only play 1 per turn, but he does recur from the drop, which seems nice, especially because the mass sand unison puts red sands in the drop, so that's some good synergy there for sure. And what's funny too is they're all called Chantaks, like Chantak Fasha, Shigesh, Borgos, Tora, and then we talked about the Chantak Trunks combo. It almost seems like Bandai is nodding at us at the wink wink of that combo, if that kind of makes sense. Just a funny thing I noticed. But these cards do all seem solid. The fact your leader plays them for free, this is a very rush heavy strategy, definitely what I'm going to call an aggro deck, and it's very reminiscent of old school Storm. Like, yeah, it's red, you don't have energy on tap like old school Storm did, but you're playing a lot of free battle cards. So playing the free battle cards is pretty much the same thing as the energy on tap, because the energy on tap was used to continue to play more battle cards, right? So you're kind of just doing the same thing there in a different way, if that makes sense. And it's all low to the ground attackers. Like, the main comparison between old school Storm and Broly, like, yeah, they have swap in common, but red Broly has way bigger battle cards, has crit, has hand rip, stuff like that. This just seems like old school aggro, low to the ground beatdown. So this reminds me a lot of old school Storm in that way. Then we've got some of the actual Bardock cards. We've got Bardock, Pride of a Low-Class Warrior. We have a 1-drop 4K auto. Add 1 card from light to hand. When this card attacks, it gets plus 11,000 power for the battle. Auto, if your other card is a red sand card and you have 2 or more energy. When this card deals damage by attacking, switch this card to active mode. Look at top 7 cards of your deck. Then play up to 1 Bardock's crew card with energy cost of 1 among them. Then shuffle your deck. The card you played the skill and this card can't attack for the turn. So that's nice. Like, it's not just a 1-drop dual attacker. There's a little bit of limitation on, you know, being able to attack with the cards you play with this, so you're not going to be super degenerate levels of fast. But what's cool about this card is you can actually play, you know, non-red Bardock's crew stuff. So you can play like a 1-drop blue Fasha or 1-drop blue Tora, whatever the case is, and that actually allows you to charge Bardock Legends Origin from your hand without energy exhaust. So technically you can start the game charging red, and you actually have the potential to charge a blue yellow untapped, which I think opens up a lot of cool possibilities for the deck. I just don't know how consistent that's going to be, considering that, you know, Pride of a Low-Class Warrior is a top 7 search for a blue guy. So if you don't hit your blue card there, that could actually slow you down kind of considerably. If you play the right number of blue 1-drops, that could work. But honestly, at that point, you might just be clunking your deck with too many, you know, non-key cards at that point. So it could be bad, but I'll probably try it out, see how it works. And if I like it, I'll probably bring it to you guys here on the channel and whatnot. Then we've got SS Bardock Super Saiyan Enlightenment. The card art on this is unbelievable. I hope this card gets an SPR. Like, here he's just suplexing Shield, right? Like, if there's an SPR where he's like choke slamming him or DDTing him, that would be awesome. But this is already super cool. All right, we have a 5-drop. We actually have a 1-drop 10k combo, so that's a little bit clunky in the deck, but let's give it a quick read. Unique Barrier 20k, EX Evolved for 1 red over a Bardock with an original energy cost of 1, so Pride of a Low-Class Warrior. Auto, when this card's played, look at top 7 cards of your deck, place up to 1 Bardock's crew card among them in your drop, then shuffle your deck so Tora can pick that up, which is good. Auto, when this card attacks, play up to 1 Bardock's crew card with energy cost of 1 from your drop area, then choose up to 2 of your red sand cards other than this card, and they get plus 5,000 power for the turn. So again, this really just gives me an old school aggro vibe. Like, play more battle cards, give your little dudes plus 5k, so now they're probably hitting for 20. That does seem pretty solid. SS Son Goku Legend Personified, we have a 1-drop unique. Auto, when this card's played, draw 1. Activate main, Bond 3. Bond 3 of anything, mind you, not like the other cards that require specifically red sands or Bardock crews. If your opponent has 3 or more energy, this card gets plus 21,000 power until the start of your next turn. So one of the cool things that a lot of people saw with this is that this gives you the ability to play Heartfelt Plea in this deck, but you have to wait until turn 3 for Legend Personified to get his effect of going up to 21k, and it's actually very easy for this deck to awaken on turn 2. So just that missed timing there makes Heartfelt Plea a little bit awkward in this deck. I think some builds will probably try it out. I think you're going to want to just awaken as soon as possible. Unless you hold your awaken for 1 turn, that's not too bad, but you are losing out on a leader draw, which could not be the best. So we're going to have to kind of see how this goes and how people decide to build it. But I wonder if they wanted Plea played in this deck, right? Because obviously they're giving us a red sand that meets the requirements very easily. It almost makes me think they're going to ban Heartfelt Plea because of this and because of how good it is in Dark Broly. But even then, they might have also realized the interaction where you're awakening turn 2 most of the time. So who knows? I don't really know what their design philosophy was behind this. I could see them banning Heartfelt Plea, but I could also see them not banning it. I really don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below about that. But anyways, let's move on. Then we got a few cards left. Invasion of Bardock's Crew, a 1-drop extra card. Activate main. If your leader's a Bardock's Crew card, choose 1. Look at top 7 of your deck. Play up to 1 Bardock's Crew with energy cost of 1 among them. Then shuffle your deck. So similar to the other Bardock we read, it doesn't have to hit a red Bardock's Crew. So again, there is some potential there of splashing non-red stuff, but could be too cute. Choose up to 2 red Bardock's Crew cards with different card names and energy cost of 1 your drop, and play them with their skills negated for the turn. For that, I don't think you would play this card, because 1, it's an extra card and you have battle cards that basically do the same thing. Even though for 1 energy you can play 2 battle cards, that is not too bad, but the problem there is you're bringing them in with their skills negated. That's not going to be actually very aggressive, so kind of a problem there. I don't think you really play this card unless you're trying to do that tricolor stuff. Sun Gohan Sand combo, another card that is meant to be played with the deck, but it's honestly a little bit weird. 2-drop 10k deflect permanent, Bond 3. This card gets plus 10,000 power and blocker. Auto when this card's played from your hand, look at top 7 cards of your deck, play up to 1 red sand card with energy cost of 1 among them, then shuffle your deck. So as far as I know, I think you have to actually cast this guy for 2. I don't really know if you want to be casting this guy for 2 compared to like playing a Unison or something along those lines, or evolving into your 5-drop Bardock, because you're not red. You are red. You don't have a lot of energy manipulation. Yeah, he does give you a nice 20k blocker. Does have deflect, which is kind of okay. I mean, he'll get killed really easily by green. He does let you look at top 7 and play another guy, so you could potentially play a Tora with blocker. That's some cool defense, but I just don't think he really adds to the aggro of the deck. But maybe as a turn 2 play, maybe he does, because he plays another 1-drop. I'll have to try it out and kind of get back to you on that. Geen at her husband's side, the whole new slew of super combos that all these colors are getting. Super combo, if your leader's red or a heroine card and your life's 4 or less, when this card's using the combo from your hand, draw 1, then choose 1 card in your combo area other than this card. It gets plus 6,000 combo power for the battle. Very unique, very cool design strategy here. I do like it, because like if you know for a fact you're gonna combo some random 5k plus this, you're almost getting an 11k super combo, which can be very helpful getting out of like 30k attacks, for instance, on your leader. So I think cards like this can be good. I just kind of think they're going to be format dependent. I don't think they're going to always inherently be good. But anyways, guys, overall, this stuff reminds me a lot of old school Storm. I think it's just a low to the ground, a really fast hitting aggro deck. I'm really excited for it. I do like aggressive strategies. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.